Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into Keros Therapeutics' latest quarterly report, which is going to be, well, let's just say there's a plot twist involving way more cash than losses for a change. Keros Therapeutics, a company working on medicines for disorders linked to protein signaling, just dropped its financial update, and it's a wild ride. Think licensing deals that bring in hundreds of millions, a strategic review for a potential sale of the company, and a new defense plan involving preferred stock. Plus a very different view from the usual quarterly numbers. Now if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. First up, let's look at their balance sheet from March. One number really stands out, cash and cash equivalents. They're sitting on a whopping $720.05 and $920.59. That's a huge increase from the $559 is how much money they have as of March. Accounts receivable also jumped significantly from $27 million is how much money they have as of March. Accounts receivable also jumped significantly from $227 million to $1720 million is how much money they have as of March. Accounts receivable also jumped significantly from $2.7 million is how much money they have as of March. Accounts receivable also jumped significantly from $2.7 million is how much money they have as of March. Accounts receivable also jumped significantly from $2 million is how much money they have as of March. Accounts receivable also jumped significantly from $2 million is how much money they have as of March. Accounts receivable also jumped significantly from $2. Now let's check out the income statement. The most striking thing here is revenue. Service revenue has jumped from basically nothing to nearly 16 million, but the real game changer is the license revenue, $5 revenue, 521 effective, 19,595 and $3 million. All told, their total revenue is $211 million versus just $83,000 last year. Operating expenses, on the other hand, increased too, but not nearly as much as revenues did. Research and development went up by about $10 million and general and administrative expenses stayed relatively steady. Operating income is $152 million compared to a loss of $48 million last year. Net income is $148 million loss last year. That is an impressive swing. Here's another important metric: net income per share of common stock has changed. Earnings per share went from a loss of 1.21 cents to a profit of $3.66 per share. This profit per share is what stock investors use to decide if the stock is worth buying. Now, let's move on to the company's cash flow. Net cash from operating activities reflects a cash inflow of $161 million, while last year showed an outflow of $44.5 million. While last year showed an outflow of $44.5 million, like the increase in net revenue drove that improvement. Moving on to stock-based compensation, it's an important non-cash measure to gauge expenses. The company accounts for stock-based awards granted to employees and non-employees as stock-based compensation expense at fair value. For the 3 months ended March, the total expense was $8.8 million from last year. This 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 $8.8 million from last year. That's $8.8 million from last year. Time to talk revenue recognition. They recognize $0.1 million of service revenue related to the Hanso agreement. This is for manufacturing technology transfer services. We also see the Takeda agreement is paying off in terms of real revenue recognition, with $95.3 million from licenses and $15.8 million from services. Now, looking at potential liabilities as of March, the company has committed up to approximately $52.3 million under these agreements, which are expected to be paid through 2029. And this amount shows their longer-term financial responsibilities, which seem to be very reasonable. But here's where things get more interesting. After the quarter closed on April 9, the board put in place a stockholder rights plan. Commonly, we call them poison pills. They're a defense mechanism against unwanted takeovers. These rights will expire next year unless the rights are earlier redeemed or exchanged by the company. A poison pill is triggered if someone acquires 10% or 15% for passive investors of the stock without board approval. It's designed to prevent a hostile takeover by penalizing anyone trying to grab control without paying a fair premium to all shareholders. There is mention of inflationary pressure as well. The company states supply chain constraints, consequences associated with public health crises, and global geopolitical tensions, as items that would affect their ability to operate. As a company in foreign countries, it is difficult to know exactly how these events will affect the company. A significant uncertainty hangs over the company as they conduct their review process to sell or not sell. They have created a strategy committee to review alternatives, but may end with nothing. The announcement of this review process may distract the work or their company. All in all, while it is possible the strategic review might end with nothing, and those plans usually work best if they are planned secretly ahead of time. On the other hand, Keros is in an unusually strong position as a smaller company. They are swimming in money without having any liabilities. As of right now, the management is doing well, and if their new product is promising, this could be a good investment. 20 as the company develops further, a main driver of risk will be future decisions of the strategic committee. Alright, that's our breakdown of Keros Therapeutics' latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.